On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, while no moves have been made and contracts have been signed, we kind of have a good idea of what next year's Avalanche roster will look like. So let's talk about that. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. And with me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciate it. If you want to get in on the conversation, definitely join our subtext. Link is in the show notes below. Chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, and share it on this very podcast. All right, we will hear from we didn't get to our subtext people at the last episode just because we hoarded that whole show, that last episode, the first one following the Avs exit from the postseason. So we'll let some of our subtext people chime in on that and how they're feeling and really how we are still feeling, because that it's still a loss that is just still sticking with you, and all losses to end your season do, but this one is just hitting differently. So we'll get to that. Definitely going to want to tune into tomorrow's episode. You're going to have Joe Sakic and Chris McFarland do their end of the year press conference. If you remember last year, Sakic wasn't a part of that. It was Landeskog and Chris McFarland. This year, they didn't say Landeskog was going to be there, so they just said Sakic and McFarland. So they will be addressing the media like they do at the end of every season, but people are going to have questions, and I'm looking forward to the responses from the two of them, one of which I am fully expecting we have the full support, or Jared Bednar has our full support. And for the people who were wanting that to be a change, well, you got news that DU head coach David Carl has signed an extension, so he's not your option. I think a lot of people were wanting that, wanting just, hey, keep it in the state. I've had it with Bednar and bring in him, but that will not happen.
Yeah, and again, it's the playoffs are still ongoing. It's just everybody. It's a lot of weight. I anticipate the press conference tomorrow not being too loud, and read between the lines. I think your real noise is going to be made as soon as that cup is handed to the new champion. And then you really take a look at what's available, what will be available, and what you want this team to do. I think that's where you start really dissecting sound bites. I think tomorrow's just going to be I'm sorry, things didn't happen, we're disappointed, very proud of, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, I think you'll get that. I don't really anticipate any like, oh my God moments. I can't believe he said that type of moments, but we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. And we'll get into it's gonna be a long off season, so we'll get into free agents and unrestricteds and all that stuff in the days and weeks to come. We will get into what we think is missing from this team and what they need to look for or go after, not player specific yet. I haven't even looked at the free agents, like the long list of free agents. I haven't even done that yet. But as far as what this team is going to look like next year in terms of what's signed, if people might not want to hear this, but it might look very similar to what was on the ice this year. Yes, there's going to be changes. There's going to be some guys that, the restricteds, or excuse me, the unrestricteds. There's going to be some that they don't re-sign. So you're going to have movement like that. But as far as contracts signed, a lot of these guys are locked up for next year. So here's your unrestricted free agents for the Colorado Avalanche. Brock Nelson, who likely won't be back. Jonathan Drouin, could talk about him. Jimmy Vesey. I can't imagine they would. I mean, they barely used him. So why would you bring back a guy you hardly used? Kivi Ranta, I would hope he comes back. We'll see. Lindgren, talk about him in a minute. Technically, Tucker Poolman never played a millisecond for the team, was just involved in a trade for LTIR purposes. He won't be there. And Eric Johnson is also a unrestricted free agent. And you can have the conversation. I mean, he's going to be 38 years old. Do you want to bring him back at a very cheap deal? Who knows? And then, so that's all your unrestricted. You have a singular restricted free agent for next year, and that is Sam Malinsky. So he is definitely coming back. He's restricted. He's got arbitration rights, whatever. So he's going to come back. But that's it. So you have 4 forwards and 3, well, technically with 4 with the RFA, 4 forwards, 4 defensemen. And 2 of those defensemen in Poolman and Johnson didn't play. Didn't play at all. Johnson didn't play a lot. Everybody else is under contract. So you're going to have a similar team than last year, Kyle.
Yeah, that's where things get interesting, because this is where you're going to be really paying attention to that press conference on what do they really say. Were they disappointed? Did they anticipate more? Are they happy with how the roster looks? Are they signaling that, hey, we might have to go in a different direction? We have to shift our focus. We have to, because if that's the case, anticipate some of these pieces moving. But if they sound proud in this press conference of, we liked our team, we liked our effort, it's hard to win a game 7, hockey speak. But if they sounded like it just wasn't our best, we didn't get lucky, then it might be the same team next year. Yeah, I don't anticipate Brock coming back.
No,
Drouin, I don't think comes back.
I do. I think they like him. I think they like what he can give them. And I think at the dollar amount, like, he hurt his dollar amount with his postseason. So if they feel like, we bring him back because his regular seasons are fine, he's just got to turn it up in the postseason. Easier said than done. But if they're confident that they're a guy that they're familiar with, that's been here now for 2 years, to give him the opportunity to, go prove yourself in the postseason. Because a lot of what we're talking about in the postseason is you have guys that you like that just didn't perform how you want them to in the postseason. Do you give up on that, or do you give them another opportunity to go prove themselves? And I just feel like with Drouin, they're going to go down road B and give him that another opportunity.
Well, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's I understand that, but also, at what point do you keep getting the band back together and getting the same amount of success? Like, is this what you want to keep committing to? Like, if we go back out, Drouin's thinking about leaving, bring him back. Kiviranta, bring him back. Everybody that's about to leave, go somewhere else, you bring them back at the same dollar amount, if not a little bit team friendlier. And then next year's another first round bounce. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you not go out and experiment? Like, are you sick and tired of being bounced in the first round? Do you want to go make those bigger moves? Again, we talked about the cap going up. I get what you're saying. Yes,
the cap in a minute too.
But yes, everybody likes Jonathan Drouin. We understand, but you just got bounced in the first round again.
Right.
Like, do you want to keep doing that over and over and over for guys that you like? I mean, goodness gracious, like Eric Johnson. How many episodes have we done after a season about that we've done together where it's, well, the Avs have been bounced, and it's great to see EJ out there, but I don't know if he could do it again. We're now in 2025 and we're still having that conversation. So it's how many times can you do this and expect the same result? You've got to start changing something.
Well, and that's the question, is like, do you feel like making the change or a change anywhere? That's always the question. Does that make your team better? And it's not just for the postseason, it's for the regular season, because you got to have a good regular season to get to the postseason. Shocking statement right there, but you do. And if you feel like, hey, we're going to bring somebody in to replace Jonathan Drouin, and it's an unknown, look at the guys you're bringing in that aren't doing the job for you in regular season and transferring over into the postseason. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't happy with that, with what Brock Nelson really got you. So, and I feel like the Avalanche are the type of team and franchise to stick with what works in the regular season and then just get more out of those guys in the postseason. It's not that far-fetched to say, like, I know what you're saying, like, keep doing the same thing over and over again. but the Avalanche probably have the mentality of, we'll take those law of averages that it will improve, because he's too good of a player for it to happen season after season. But it hasn't happened season after season with Jonathan Drouin. If you look at his career stats for the postseason, like, they're not all that bad. Total, let's see. So if you go back to 15-16, when he played with Tampa Bay, he had 17 games played, 14 points. In 19-20 with Montreal, 10 games played, 7 points. Last year with the Avs, he only played in 3 games and had 3 assists. And then this year he had 7 games and only had 3 points total. So this was by far like his most unproductive playoff. This isn't like a yearly thing for him where he goes into the playoffs and just falls apart. He had a bad postseason. But do you give up on that or let him ride it out again next year?
Well, I don't want to fall in the trap. Like, let's not kid ourselves either. We didn't have a good regular season. It wasn't a good. They were sitting in the wild card spot for a while, and they had to take the retooling to push to where they are.
Right.
Like, you're dancing around second and third in the Central. It wasn't. Deep division, deep conference, and they finished 7th overall with 49 different players. That's not bad. Well, you had the win-loss. You didn't have an identity all year long. You had your win-loss. It wasn't a banner regular season. Like, it was. No,
I think that's all the more impressive, because it was just all over the place, and you finished where you did. I'm impressed by that. Not being a homer at all in saying that. I think if you just look on the surface, like, man, this team just completely retooled their roster, and they did. And you and I watch every single game. It was just like, you're right. There was no consistency in it. But to be in the position they were for no consistency is not bad.
But I think you're looking at it wrong, because that's what you got bounced in the first round again. And I think that's the sum of the parts. Yep. The sum of the parts of the regular season. Like, instead of despite, I think it's not, you didn't get to the playoffs despite of it. I think you're out of the playoffs because of it.
Yeah, no, it's two different things. Like, if we're talking about the regular season and we're talking about the postseason, 2 separate things. Yes, the regular season, I will give them a lot of credit for finishing where they did in the regular season. It didn't translate over into the postseason. And that is where you get graded, is how far you get in the postseason. And it's another first round exit. So, but with this roster, the big questions are coming back now, Kyle, of like 2C. Where's that coming from? It's likely not going to be Brock Nelson. And the way that your cap is right now, it's going to get dicey. So let's get a break in here, and then we'll bring that up. Of course, the elephant in the room is Gabe Landeskog contract coming back on the books. How's all of this look? We're going to talk about that next.
An award-winning mattress can change your life. I speak from experience. It happened to me. After years of uncomfortable sleeps, I recently switched to Bear Mattress, and the results were instant. Bear Mattress is designed with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. I used to deal with night sweats, but Bear's best-in-class cooling ensures optimal temperature regulation, which prevents overheating and helps me stay comfortable all night long. Bear offers a wide variety of mattresses, but to get the right one for you, take their sleep quiz that matches you to your perfect mattress based on body type and sleep preferences. Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
All right. So continuing to talk about this Avalanche roster, like we said, a lot of these guys are under contract for next year. There's still going to be moves to be made, obviously. You have, I'm on Puckpedia right now, for the remainder of this year, you are your projected cap space, you are negative 6.1 million and change. And that is a lot because of Gabe Landeskog, obviously. Doesn't count in the postseason, which is why he was able to play. There's no cap in the postseason. We know the salary cap is going up, what they say, $8 million, I think, to like 98 million, or maybe it's going up to $98 million, I believe is the number.
95.5.
Oh, so it did go, okay. And it was at 88. It was at 88. Okay. So it's at 95 and a half. So if you are negative 6.1 and Landeskog is going to soak up 7, that math ain't mathin' for the Av. Like, he's basically taking up what the Avs have in surplus right now. You do have 400 and where'd it go? From the Georgiev deal, there's $476,000 retained from his deal.
Phew.
So basically, using round numbers, like basically what you have in excess right now is what the cap is going up to, which is also what Gabe Landeskog's contract will cost on the books. So, and you do have money coming off, obviously, with Nelson. He cost you $3 million. Drouin is $2.5 million. And then VC's only $800,000. Kiviranta's $775,000. You have Lindgren at 2.25. Pullman's $2 million, and Eric Johnson's $1 million is coming off. So basically, but Ryan Lindgren is not a $2.25 million player. You know, he's going to want more than that. I think 50% was retained by the Rangers, so he's at 4.5. He's going to want more than that for this contract. So it's not just like you can just re-up these guys for what they currently made and we're all good. Nelson did not make $3 million, you know, and he obviously didn't stay in Long Island because he's going to want more. What's the deal with Jonathan Drouin? Like, so it's all a numbers game right now, but from what the Avs have coming off of the books, you can't re-sign those guys for that same number in terms of Brock Nelson and Lindgren. So there's going to have to be moves to be made, and that's where it's going to be tough to bring in someone like a 2C because you don't have the dollar amounts to go towards a 2C player right now. It's which makes me believe other moves are going to have to be made. So who's going out? This is where I've always said about Sam Girard. I don't feel like they're ever going to trade him based on performance. I think they love how he plays within this system. I've always said if he's on the way out, it's because of this. It's because of cap constraints and moves that they need to make. So they ship him out to free up some money somewhere, or his $5 million. That's in the range of a 2C, maybe a little bit more. And then you go that direction. That's the things that could happen this offseason for the Avs.
Yeah, you're gonna have to really look at Sam Girard and that $5 million that he's carrying for the next 2 years, or Josh Manson for his 4.5 for another year. Either one, you can look at those, kick the tires on those. But this comes down to we again, like I mentioned in the first segment, talking about good job, Eric Johnson. I think this is it for him, part 4, when it comes to wrapping the season up. And now we're talking about the Avs need a 2C, and they don't have the money to go get it, part 4.
Yeah.
It seems to be a never-ending problem for the Colorado Avalanche. And every 2C you get, you trade away because it just doesn't work. And this goes back to, I'm very curious on the nomenclature that they use in this press conference on if they are pleased with how this core is constructed, because we've been talking about center depth all year long, and center depth is now playing golf. So what do they want in center depth. What is the 2C that works? I know everybody likes pointing to Nas, but Nas isn't walking through the door.
No.
So you've got to find something that works with this roster and the wings as well. You've got to find somebody that can pull their weight and really utilize the talent on both sides. It was too big of a task for Casey Middlestat, and Brock was okay. And you got Charlie Coyle for 2 more years, and
just next year. He's just next year.
I thought you had him for 2, but
No,
even still, but
yeah,
that's
just one.
That's not really your answer.
No, hang on.
No, but all of that to say is the Avs need to really get and figure out what they want at the center position, because deep all-star all the way down didn't get the job done. So you have to figure out what is actually what do you want, and see what the price tag looks for what you want, and then look at Sam Girard and Josh Manson to see if that helps you get what you want.
Because as far as the center position goes, you feel good about the other, 1, 3, and 4. I thought Charlie Coyle was very good this year for them when he came over. You love what Jack Drury gives you, obviously. But Coyle, he's not a second line center.
No,
I'm not putting him up there consistently. The defense, I think, is where it's going to get really, really interesting. Really interesting, because I mentioned Sam Girard. You mentioned Josh Manson. Yeah, Lindgren is an unrestricted free agent, but I think they really liked what he offered them. And he also gives you size. And he gives you grit. And is that what's missing from the Avalanche consistently over the course of a full season? If they feel like it is, that I'm saying, if Sam Girard's on his way out and you use his money for a 2C, but they might want to use it to keep Lindgren around, I definitely could see that happening. That doesn't solve you right back to square one with the 2C part, but if they really liked what Lindgren gave him, which I feel like they do, it could go that route. And the other part of it is Sam Malinsky. Malinsky is not going to cost you a ton, and he has earned more time. And I shouldn't say more time, a full-time role on this team. No more subbing in, subbing out for him. He's part of this roster, and he's part of a defensive pairing for the duration. And you probably can sign him for relatively inexpensive. So you get him at a low number, and you have to ship out Sam Girard and use his money for a 2C, or keep Lindgren if you really liked him. That's the direction you go if you're the Avalanche on the defensive side. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting offseason for the Avs on defense. And then what do you do with Erik Johnson? I mean, he's going to cost you next to nothing. The cost of his contract is something, but at the cost of what? Like, he's going to be 38 years old. We all love Erik Johnson, but 38-year-old defenseman, you're asking a lot.
And honestly, this might be the year, and we, again, part 4 of us saying this, but it might be the year to check out the Eagles and see who's ready to actually fly.
Keaton Middleton's another one.
Yep.
They used him a ton this year. And Jared Bednar always just went on and on about him, how I just loved his play. And he's big.
Yeah.
So we could be seeing a change of how the Avalanche operate on the defensive end and use those guys. If Malinsky and Middleton are more of your everyday players, that's a different looking defense for the Avs.
And just you mentioning that pairing, I really like how that sounds.
Middleton and Malinsky. Yeah, because they like to put Manson and Lindgren together a lot too. And then you would have Erik Johnson in there if you wanted to keep him around as that 7th defenseman for the heck of it. It doesn't solve your forward position though.
Nope.
It doesn't. So Avs are going to have to get creative once again to address that. But overall, like we said, this what you saw this last year with minor tweaks here and there, you're getting that again next year. Is that a playoff team? Definitely a playoff team. But you don't go into the playoffs like you did this year. You were confident with this team going in to the playoffs this year. if this is how it is with some plugs here and there, yeah, it's a playoff team, but it's one of those teams that you have to hope they can just get some run going in them for the playoffs and just have some luck, because it's going to be a grind. And you got Nathan MacKinnon, you got Cale Makar. Those guys are always your aces, but it's going to be a different vibe, I feel, going into next year's postseason.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
I don't know. So what do our subtext people think? How are they thinking? How are they feeling? We're going to check in with them and ourselves. I think we need some therapy sessions too. We'll do that next. So here from Wonderful Pistachios, if you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. It's one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. It was on their website the other day. Did we mention we were going through the flavors? They do have the dill pickle flavor. Are you a dill pickle like?
I'm a pickle freak.
Well, I love dill pickles, but I don't like this trend of the pickle flavor finding its way into everything.
Oh, I like that.
I got some friends that are just crazy about like like my wife bought dill pickle ranch dressing, and I'm like, no, I just keep dill pickles in pickles.
We put it on there's a dill pickle flavor popcorn salt that
there you go. So you would be the dill pickle pistachio guy.
I would,
all day long. So go check them out. They got them over at Wonderful Pistachios. So get snacking and get cracking with these snacks that pack a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com right now to learn more. All right. So we'll check in with our subtext people here, because and I wrote about this, but how are you feeling 48 hours later? We said at the time, raw emotion right after the game was over. This one still stings, man. It still stings. And it's the Mikko factor for me. The fact that the Duchesne one, the fact that he ended your season, yeah, that stung, but he's been around the block. He played with 4 other teams before he got back to Dallas. And yeah, the history there, that hurt. The Mikko one was still fresh in people's minds. That happened this season. And that's why I feel like this one is just going to stick around for a long, long time.
Yeah, you see, I get that. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I shaved my entire playoff beard off. I did some serious work on it. I did not handle it well. And the Mikko thing, yeah, that's a factor. But this is kind of like the 2001 Seattle Mariners or 2003 Atlanta Braves. Super teams that you felt could do no wrong. It did not do a thing. I felt really good about this team going into the playoffs. This team might have a chance to go all the way. And it was just a dud. It really was. Besides the one game, I know. I was there. I seen it. It just did not live up to the hype. And it's just frustrating because you're going to constantly look back and you're like, man, that team was good in that regular season. You're going to look back on your social media memories, or you're going to watch back on those clips, the altitudes on this day, or remember when this season they had, and you're like, that was a good team. Why did they get bounced in that round? And that's what's bothering me the most, is this team had so much potential and just did not rise to it.
Yeah, and the Mikko thing, and the fact that Dallas was down 2 of their best players, their absolute best players, and you still couldn't find a way to do it. I wouldn't say that. I do feel like this lived up to the hype, going the full 7. You had the 2 overtime games. The way that Game 7 ended, although as fans you absolutely hate it, it delivered in terms of wow factor, right? The way that it ended. So I don't know. I do feel like it lived up to the hype personally, but How's our subtext people feel? We got Ethan here. I just asked him, I said, how's everybody feeling? And he said, just as bad. The broken stick is going to haunt me. I generally don't think it's a loss if that stick doesn't break. What he's talking about is the Cale Makar broken stick where the Avs were on the power play. He takes a shot from right at the point. Stick just shatters. He's got to track back on defense and causes a tripping penalty, which the rest is history. He's right.
Yep.
Would we even be here if a Cale Makar stick does not break? You don't 100% know the answer to that, but things would have definitely been different. We don't know what that different would have been, but would things have imploded the way that they did? It's tough. It's tough to say that they would have.
Yeah, that definitely that's one of those turning points in the game, and you can't hate it because it was just an Avalanche past that point. You could have stopped it too at any point, and you just didn't. But yeah, that was the moment that things started to shift.
Kay says, let's just say I'm glad you didn't ask that last night, meaning the night before now. If they had been down the whole game instead of letting a 2-goal lead slip away, I would be a lot less disappointed and disgusted. Stars are the new Red Wings. I'll be avoiding discussion of the team for a few days because it occurred to me that it's straight up unhealthy to get so emotional about a hockey team. It's okay to get emotional about a hockey team. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I think, like she said, if she's right. If they're down the whole game and you're the ones chasing and trying to get back into the game, okay, you can kind of live with that a little bit more. But just the way that it went down is what's just so difficult to swallow.
I love the comment. The Stars are the new Red Wings. You know who also was the rival to the Avalanche during the Red Wing days? The Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
Mike Modano and Eddie the
Huge.
Eagle. Oh, those were some frustrating teams.
Absolutely. Adam says, can't help but wonder, what if we had taken the chance on Mikko, risked losing him for nothing, and rode it out to the end of the season? The trade for Nashis made sense at the time. Get what you can when you can, but I just think maybe an Avs win this series. I think just maybe the Avs win this series somewhat easily if Mikko is still on our side and Nashis is in Raleigh. Now, maybe they can lose in subsequent rounds anyway, but I think they at least win this one. That's what I said before the Mikko train even happened. The whole season leading up to that, I was of the mind of they are better with him. And I said that multiple times. So I thought they were going to take that risk of not being able to sign him because he gives them the best chance to win in the postseason. And then they went and did what they did. But it's a valid question.
And, it is a valid question. And I get where you're coming from, especially after that performance. But you lost to the Dallas Stars last year with them.
That is true. But they did not, where they were not down Robo or Heiskanen last year either. All valid points, what you're saying.
Yeah,
all valid points. But
that, like, every time you say that, it just makes me sick to my stomach. Like, it shouldn't be that way. Like, so yeah, I mean, you had Mikko last year and Duchesne put you out. So,
man, where's it again? Oh, Coy. I've calmed down a little bit. Still very disappointed, but that's sports. Thank you, Coy. It is sports. You live and die with your sports team, and you'll get frustrated by it, and it will sting for however long, but you will overcome it. You'll be okay in the long run. And
I grew up an Auburn fan. I know all about this all too well.
Heather just very simply said in denial. Brandon just said very simply, very sad. And Craig said, I have to admit, feel pretty awful. Mikko was supposed to be the bad guy. He and his agent were the ones demanding the gigantic bump in pay, and they made it so he could choose his team for basically what the Avs were offering. Once the game ended, I couldn't finish watching. Did not see the end of the series line of the guys for the good game compliments. Saw a lot of posts with Mikko talking about how the Avs players are still his brothers. Oh, well, at least the Nuggets won their game 7.
Who would have thought?
What are the Nuggets? Oh, that's NBA, which the Knicks won that game, Kyle.
Yeah,
they won that game. Go Knicks. All right. So Yeah, this one's gonna just be on the mind for a long time. Like this is one of those. The way that this season ended, it's one of those things where you are not gonna fully get over it until games happen again. And unfortunately, that's not for 5 months. So
it's going to be one of those. We're going to be outside mowing the grass in June.
yes,
And you're zoning off. You're going to be like, why in the world did Drury hold on that play in particular? Like, you're just going to think about it. You're like, oh, now I'm just frustrated about that series all over again.
yeah, mowing the lawn, 4 o'clock in the morning, waking you up out of bed, just random thoughts like in the shower, just like everything's just gonna pop up. That's what this loss has done to the Avalanche mindset.
What brand stick does Cale Makar have anyway?
Class action lawsuit against those people. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Yeah, tune in for tomorrow. We'll see what Joe Sakic and Chris McFarland have to say, and anything else that's going on in Avalanche Nation. We'll be talking about it tomorrow. So tune in for that. But for this, thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow, or you made it through another 24 hours of Sidney Crosby's that much closer to being with the Colorado Avalanche.
He's on Team Canada.
Ooh.